Hey guys, welcome back to MMA Library. Today in MMA and UFC news, Islam Makhachev was accused of using steroids by Bobby Green about a month ago. And during a recent interview for UFC 284, he responded to the accusations.
I don't know. I'm not like Bobby Green. Like, I'm not drunk, do some bad stuff. I training hard, that's why he feel the power. And I told you, all the fighters say I'm gonna defend his wrestling, like if he take me down, I'm gonna go up. But when fight is happening, when I take down my opponent, they all feel my power and they all tap, That's why. This is not because I'm good, because I training all my life, that's why.
Kevin Lee has recently re-signed with the UFC and is already eyeing up his first fight. Here's what Lee had to say when questioned about his dream fight.
There's a couple, I've been kind of refraining from like sticking with one person, tying myself with a fight. But there's a lot of dream fights that I've always wanted to have at 170. I think me and Masvidal have a lot of unfinished business. He had a lot to say when I fought Gregor Gillespie at Madison Square Garden. I feel like I outshined him on that card. I feel like we got some unfinished business. He got Gilbert Burns. He's gonna lose to Gilbert, and then who knows what's gonna happen after that. But there's a whole lot of fights. There's Kobe Covington, which would be a great fight. You see now Michael Chandler and Conor are fighting at 170. So who's to say if they stay, if they go, if they come, like who's gonna follow behind them? I think a lot of things are going to start moving around in this next month or so, and especially around March. A lot of pieces are going to move, and then I'll kind of see where I fit in. The running joke in MMA is always, where do I fit into this? So I'm going to see where that goes.
Who would you like to see Kevin Lee fight when he makes his return? Let us know in the comments down below. Dana White blasts some fans during an Instagram live video. Here's a clip.
Twin Peaks. PT's Pubs, it's at Caesars, it's at all the MGM Barrage, they're all playing it. So live tonight. And you can now bet on Power Slap too. So not right now on the show, but when we do the live event in March, you'll be able to bet on that. Yes, I'm driving and live. I know some of you guys will be crying about that. Oh, he's driving and he's live and he doesn't have a seatbelt on either. Fucking boo-hoo. Get over it.
Daniel Cormier gives his take on how Islam Makhachev will be during his fights now that Khabib isn't in his corner. RC, it's like Khabib was playing a video game. It was like he was explaining, like he was holding a controller with Islam Makhachev as the character that he was using as he got that submission. But I think he's come to terms with it. I think Islam has come to terms with it. I haven't had an opportunity to ask him about it, but everything I see publicly, everything I see him say, tells me that he's come to terms with it. Now I have to go and compete without my guy. It does happen though, right? We have been in situations before where we've had to go fight without each other, or you got to fight without this guy or this guy. It just kind of happens. And I believe that Islam has many great coaches. He's got many great training partners, and many people will be there to support him, and he's going to need it. Because he's going into enemy territory to try and beat the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. It's recently been announced that Dan Hooker will no longer be competing at UFC 285 after suffering an injury. Unfortunate news, Dan Hooker is out of his UFC 285 match with Jalen Turner after suffering a broken hand, per sources. Turner is expected to remain on the card, but no opponent at the moment. Dan Hooker later shared a picture to Instagram showing off the cast he now has to wear after the injury. Alexander Volkanovski employed the help of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champ Craig Jones in the lead-up to his fight this Saturday at UFC 284. During a recent interview, Jones trolls Makhachev.
What's it been like basically being Islam for however many weeks or months now?
Well, obviously I had to get into character. The mustache is growing back.
Yeah.
I didn't shave it again because I was worried they would run into me in the lobby and give me the slap. Who'd they slap? Adam Lobov?
Yeah, grabbed him by the back of that, yeah.
Back. But honestly, it was pretty easy being Islam, Like, I didn't have to worry about taking Volks down. I just had to be a boring on top,
So you took it like a method acting thing. You're basically Heath Ledger in the Dark Knight. It's basically being Islam outside of the gym every day, everywhere you go.
I lived a very pure lifestyle for this camp. I didn't touch any alcohol, nothing. I really got into character.
Michael Bisping talks about respecting Conor McGregor for accepting the fight against Michael Chandler. Here's what Bisping had to say in a recent interview.
It's the true entertainment inside the octagon, but has he still got it? That is the big question. And that's why I respect him for taking this fight. There was easier fights for him to take. There was a rumor that McGregor was going to go up against Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson would have been, with respect to Tony, kind of a more winnable fight. Even though Tony and Chandler went up against one another and Tony started it well, it ended up with him getting front kicked into oblivion. So it's a tough fight for McGregor. You know, as I say, he's been away for a while. He's getting older. He's been partying a bit. He snapped his leg. He's gone up to 170, 185, 205, whatever he weighs. Now, if the fight takes place at 155, he's going to lose all that mass. He's going to come off the supplements that he's been taking. He's going to get fit. He's going to get in shape, and he's got to stay focused. McGregor, you know, he's a man that likes to party a little bit. So what? You know, that's his personality type. He's going to be in Vegas for a while. Will he be training the whole time? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know. But what we do know for sure that this fight will guarantee it'll just be sensational.
Alexander Volkanovski gives his take on whether or not Conor McGregor will get a title shot with a win over Michael Chandler.
Obviously, it's always good to have Conor coming back to the sport. Brings a lot of eyes here, you know. And that'll be a fun fight as well. You know what I mean? And it's I think it's clever for both of them. Clever for Conor because he can go and fight, and that's you know, they're both powerful dudes. Obviously, it's a winnable fight because they're just going to go for it. So it's going to be entertaining. But I mean, that just puts Conor right back in the conversations, you know, for the belt and all that type of stuff. And for people to say, you know, he wouldn't deserve it and there's no way they're going to do that, you're pretty crazy, right? Like, it's Conor McGregor, and if he takes out someone like a Chandler, you know his name's going to be mentioned. You know people are going to be talking about him. So it's interesting. It's good to look at because I plan on taking that lightweight belt, and I'm looking at seeing what's happening in the division. There's a lot of potential matchups after this one, but obviously first I've got to worry about what's in front of me.
Big John from the Weighing In podcast gives his take on whether or not Alexander Volkanovski will be able to compete with the strength of Islam Makhachev this weekend.
No, the truth is, you know, I look at this fight and I love Alexander Volkanovski. I think he's a tremendous fighter. And everyone's going to talk about all the things that he's been saying about the people, you know, that he's training with, and they can't take him down, and he's so much stronger now, and all these things, Josh. And I'm not saying he's not stronger, but what percentage of stronger are you? It can't be that much. All right. It's not enough to make up the difference because there is a huge difference when it comes to the grappling of both of these guys. And I'm taking nothing away from Alexander. He's good, but he's not great in those areas, where Islam is great in those areas. And when you have someone like Islam who physically is bigger, he is physically stronger, no matter what anyone wants to say about, oh, Volkanovski's gotten stronger and bigger and all that stuff. Putting on that 10 pounds is not going to change that. It just doesn't happen that way.
What do you guys think about Big John's comments? Can Volkanovski compete against the strength of Islam? Let us know in the comments below. Guys, thanks so much for checking out the video. If you like the content we do here on this channel, don't forget to like and subscribe to MMA Library for all the latest MMA and UFC news. We'll see you in the next video.